today I found myself doing something that I have been trying to perfect, right? And I saw the fruits of that labor. I started asking questions, better questions actually. I started asking better questions, meaning normally I would just ask some questions and say, so what do y'all think about this, or how do we get this done? And whatever answer came, I just took it. And I do think like a lot of professionals and meetings go that way. There's a question that's asked and then there's an answer. I believe that my experience today proves that if you ask better questions, you can secure a better decision because you're not just getting a surface level answer. And from a governance standpoint, what I've really understood is you can't even govern properly if you don't have a good decision. So today, like here was the situation where we're discussing how do you help an athlete who's not a ranked guy, right? For whatever that means. Not a ranked athlete, but they have the stats, they have the accolades, they won championships in high school, they played two positions. But instead of saying, is he okay with switching positions? The question became, when we switch your position, how do you see that benefiting you? And what that did was that allowed the athlete to respond back to me and the team. It allowed him to respond back to us and say, this is what I think it'll do for me. You know, I've always considered this could be an opportunity. Like what they're what the athlete started doing was selling us on the decision that they're considering. Because what I've noticed and what I've learned is if you kind of say, we think about switching positions, or you thought about switching positions, it turns into like age defense. Like, nah, why I switch position? I'm already having success in this lane. I'm already having, like the accolades are more on this side, and I want to be the star. And the way that we shifted the question allowed the athlete to work through how they viewed their career and their future. And then now we're having a real conversation. Now we could say, okay, based on what you've already had success in, with what you've already had success in on the side of the ball too, based on your frame, your size, your speed, your talent, here are the things that we believe can benefit you most on this side. And you've already said, if you chose to go on this side of the ball, these are the things that you believe would benefit you. And I do believe that's a testament of asking better questions. It's not necessarily anything that we had to persuade or oversell or over explain. It was, what do you think, right? Or how do you see this fitting in the future? Or what happens if you do this? Not, why you don't just switch positions? Or why you don't just sign this athlete? Or why you don't just, like, it's always like you ask the question in a way where it's framed from a inquisitive standpoint, where you're saying, what do you think could happen if you did this? And you let them paint the picture. So now you can sit and have a real question, well, a real conversation. And athlete aside, this is what should be happening in the recruiting departments and the personnel and the acquisitions. It's not, why should we sign this athlete? It's, what happens if we sign this athlete? What happens if we bring him onto our roster? That gets you down to the root of, are we signing this guy because they are highly ranked? Or are we signing this guy because it actually makes sense for the roster and we've thought this through and we've pictured them on our roster and we've pictured them on our team and our building. And that's where you start to frame and you're able to justify and explain in detail, from a budgeting standpoint, from a contractual standpoint, even from a recruiting standpoint, like I believe that if you understand what happens if you sign this athlete, what happens if you bring him onto your team, now when you go out and you recruit the athlete, the conversation goes well past, hey man, you want to be part of our team? Hey man, you want to come be the mascot, like whatever your mascot is. And because the athlete gonna always say yes for sure, or I'm thinking it through, or y'all in my top five, or whatever the case may be. But if you're going out with a plan of, we know what it looks like if the guys on our team, we know what it looks like if we offer them a contract, we know what it looks like if we put the budget together to offer this kid. I'm sitting down with the athlete now. I'm talking to them as if they are already on the roster. You're talking to them as if they've already said yes, because what you've done was you painted a picture internally. So now when you go externally, you're just having a conversation as if they're already there. And I think that's a different level of recruitment because you're asking better questions, and that starts at the board. Asking the better questions on the board, that leads you to ask better questions on the road. That allows you to answer those questions when someone comes and asks you why you did this and why you did that. So that one example that I had with the athlete, it was a great question, and then allowed them to sell themselves and paint the picture on how they will fit this new position. I thought that was pretty cool.